Okay, and welcome everyone back to our live webinar series from Organic Intelligence Consulting Inc. My name is Robbie, and we are here today for another round of talks with you. But this time, we are going to extend a little bit because we think that it is a very important topic for us to have today. And today we will be talking about mental health. And yes, it is a very important topic, and I know many of you are really eager to understand and to have some sort of tips that we can give you for you to manage the now normal. I think that's the term that's going around. It's no longer the new normal. We've been in this game for this pandemic for like 8, 9 months, 10 months. We're ending the year, and we feel that we know that it's going to continue next year. So the now normal, how do we navigate through that, and how do we get through it? So again, welcome everyone. For those of you who have been following us, thank you so much for watching. For those of you who have just tuned in, thank you for tuning in. And there's no time like today to start and be with us and to start following our webinar series. And if you want to look back at some of the other webinars that we've had, they are online right now. They're still online, and you can watch our previous sessions. Now, moving forward, for those of you who don't know us or who have not encountered us before, or who have heard of us, we will give you a little bit of an intro and of our company, Organic Intelligence Consulting Inc. And to give that intro for you is my partner in crime, okay, my partner in this business in consultancy. And may I introduce to you one of our lead behavior consultants, Miss Sarah Ramos.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to have everybody present with us today. So just a brief introduction of who we are. We are Organic Intelligence. So Organic Intelligence is really a marketing and communications think tank. It's an insights to solutions house. And what we do is we provide strategic communication solutions by harnessing the best in the local community and global resources so that we're able to connect organizations with their intended audiences and stakeholders, whether they're your own internal customers, like your employees, or your external customers, which are your clients. Okay, so how do we provide solutions? We do that using and harnessing the different competencies that we have as Organic Intelligence. So we have plan and design, which is really focused on communication and branding and marketing. We have search, which is all about traditional, non traditional research methods that also answer different kinds of questions. We have health, which is really all about creating communication strategies and campaigns, both for public and private health organizations. And then there is us, which is learn. And what we do is all about influencing behavior so that people get the best results that they have through the many different platforms and solutions that we offer. So we are also part of a community of agencies. And the community of agencies work together to really give you a comprehensive solution to any kind of question or situation that you're in, so we can provide that for you as well. So in addition to that, so solutions can come in the form of events, digital solutions, activation, PR, okay, content generation, as well as video content. So it's really a very comprehensive arsenal that we have in order to provide you with any kind of needs that you have for your own organizations. So our partnership with the community of ICs, we also are partnered with several organizations, okay, SMR, Pocket Mentor, which is an online learning platform. We are member of MORES. We're also partnered with the Ateneo Business Resource Center, partnered with the DOST, and also the of PhilJets for government. Okay, so we work with a lot of private and government institutions, really working in order to help who it is that we intend to help as an organization. So be it your internal employees or your customers or even your end users. Okay, so we touch all of those different channels. So we don't want to take a lot of your time, and we know you're all eager to learn from our speaker. Okay, so to introduce her today, I will turn it back over to Robbie.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. And so I guess all of you are just raring to go and you want to learn, want to know more about what our speaker is going to talk about. And like I said, we have a full hour and a half today, so we can field in more questions. We can answer more questions. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation as well. But to begin, let me introduce our guest speaker for today. So today, our speaker is a graduate of a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from the Far Eastern University. She earned her master's degree in clinical psychology from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. She is a registered psychologist. She handled recruitment and screening of applicants in Concerted Management Corporation and ProSearch Incorporated. She also worked as a lead support for operations and sales in IBM Global Business Services. With her interest in teaching, she became an assistant professor at Centro Escolar University from 2013 to 2017. At present, she works at the Philippine Mental Health Association Incorporated Clinical and Diagnostic Services as a psychologist where she conducts individual and group counseling, psychological assessment, and facilitates clinical educational programs as well as preventive and rehabilitation programs from the association. She has conducted numerous lectures on topics like suicide and depression, stress management, basic counseling skills, and emotion awareness. Likewise, she became a guest speaker in PMHA's partner radio and television programs where she discussed topics on mental health and other related topics that can help the listeners and viewers improve their approach to daily life. Ladies and gentlemen, all our viewers out there, let us all welcome Miss Maria and Michelle Caparros-Noscal.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Robbie. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello, good afternoon. Okay, I'm not sure.
Okay. So, okay, are we back online?
Hi, Robbie. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Oh, yeah, I'm back. We're back.
Yes, some technical difficulties there. It does happen. My apologies to everyone. Apparently, there are many of you who are watching us, and that's why our we blew up the internet this way. So okay, so yes,
It's the
Miss
now
M, go
normal.
ahead.
Yes, hi,
And
Robbie.
so go ahead and you can start sharing, and so that we can all listen to and learn from your own experiences.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Robbie. And I am excited to be here with you for this topic. And the topic that we have for today is enhancing well-being, caring for your mental health during the holidays. So this is very relevant and very timely since it's about 2 or 3 weeks, no, before Christmas. And for today, we will be discussing this despite the pandemic that we have. How can we take care? How can we continue to take care of our mental health during the holiday season? So of course, before we start, I'd like to I'd like to ask, how are you feeling today? I know this is live, but you can reflect on yourself. No, it's like a temperature check. How are you feeling today in terms of the emoji that we can see? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you mad? Are you confused? From time to time, we have to check ourselves on what do we feel, how are we feeling, because that makes us aware of our health in terms of the mental health, in terms of our emotional health. So I hope some of you can send your emojis if ever, no? If ever, to those who are with us this afternoon, I hope you can send your emojis and answer this. How are you feeling this afternoon? Okay, and for me, I'm excited. And of course, I am thankful for Organic Intelligence for inviting us to discuss the mental health and the mental disorder. All right. Okay, so as we proceed, okay, for the key discussion points this afternoon, we will be talking about the mental health, the basics of mental health and mental disorders, the characteristics of a mentally healthy individual, and then the effects of COVID-19 pandemic and the holidays to mental health and mental disorder. Of course, we are in a different time. As mentioned by Robbie, this is the now normal. So how are we gonna celebrate? How are we gonna celebrate Christmas? How are we gonna celebrate New Year having this pandemic? Okay, and then the red flags to mental health during the holidays. And lastly, I will be giving some tips in taking care of one's mental health during the holidays. Okay, so basically, of course, when we say mental health, usually we have different perspective. No, I think some people when they hear about mental health, they relate it immediately to mental disorder or to some diagnosis or conditions. But as we have indicated here, it is health. No? In Tagalog, kalusugang pangkaisipan. Okay, so we have to take care of this as well. So what is mental health? We have to change the perspective now when we say mental health. Oh, it's about there's something wrong. Immediately, ganun yung naiisip ng bawat isa. But basically, for this afternoon, we will try to have a clearer understanding, hopefully, for this topic. Okay. So mental health is an integral aspect, meaning this is very much essential aspect of health. Very important aspect of health and is equally important as your physical, emotional, and the social plus the spiritual health. Of course, in general, this one is part of when we say there is no health without mental health. So this integral aspect, this essential aspect, leads us to how we think, how we behave, how our mood, no, in the day-to-day basis. So this is very important to us because as well, we have, or this is our management of stress is being determined by our mental health. So importante siya. At kailangan, as we take care of our other areas of life, as mentioned here by the Philippine Psychiatric Association, we also have to take care of this. Okay? So as defined by World Health Organization, mental health is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes her own or his own potential. Meaning you know yourself, you know your strength, you know your weaknesses. Okay, and then you can cope with normal stressors of life. Of course, stress is part of our daily life. It's there. We cannot just neglect or we cannot just dismiss it. It's part of it. So we should know how to cope with the normal stresses of life. And mentally healthy individual can work productively and fruitfully. So you are productive in the things that you do. If you are a student or if you are an employee, you're productive enough. And sometimes you can go beyond and give an extra mile. No? And you can be able to make a contribution to your community. So it's not just about yourself, but also to the people around you, to your community, to your purpose, to the community. All right. So technically, when we say I don't have a mental illness, does that mean I am mentally healthy? We usually, probably some can be confused on this one. If they don't have any mental disorder or mental health, does that mean that they are exempted to experience mental disruptions? Okay, and we will answer that. Okay, so mental health is not merely the absence of a disease. Meaning, if you're mentally healthy, you can still experience difficulty or challenges in terms of your mental and emotional health and social health as well. So, poor mental health is different from having a mental illness or a mental disorder. Okay, because there are some people who are mentally healthy, and yet because of the different stressors, because of the different problems that they have that feeling of course, they feel stressed out, they feel down, they feel anxious, and that's part of it. That's part of it. It's not black and white. In short, it's not black and white. It's not binary. So for those naman who have their diagnosis, for example, it means that there are also times that they have the sense of well-being. Now they can still feel, they still have that feeling of they feel better, they have the mental wellness. But of course, it's not, if you have this disorder, you can no longer experience wellness, or you can no longer experience well-being to areas of your life. And if you are mentally healthy, you are excused, or you are already, for example, you can no longer experience problem. Of course, it's not that. It's not realistic as well. So it leads to this one that I wanted to share with you. Lagi. Okay. Mm, okay. It's not working. Mm, okay. It's not working. All right. I Okay. So basically, while we are waiting, as I was saying, when it comes to mental health, that is not a black and white. It is not binary. There is a continuum. That's actually I wanted to share. Um, Apologies for the technical lagging. It's not okay. So there is a mental health continuum model. This one is from Canada, no. In this continuum model, it says that there's a range. No, for example, you are under healthy, you are experiencing normal fluctuations in mood, of course, the emotions that you're experiencing. There is a normal pattern, sleep patterns. You are physically well and full of energy, and then there's a consistent performance. Well, this model is actually for employees, specifically for employees. Pero of course, this can be used naman by other institutions or other, for example, students. It, it's the same naman, no? So after that, of course, socially active. So that's under healthy. And on the continuum of reacting, that's where nervousness and irritability and sadness happens. So there might be some trouble with the sleep, um, either too much sleep na or lacking of sleep. And then tired or low energy, there could be some muscle tensions, or sometimes, di ba, yung headaches, parang nadadalas yung headaches ninyo, and then the muscle tensions sa shoulders ninyo. So basically, that's the reacting part. We react to the stress, and our body reacts to it as well. And then procrastination And of course, the decrease of social activity. So kung basically, if you are a social butterfly, medyo nagle-lessen na, nade-decrease na yung iyong pakikipahalubilo. And on the injured part, this comes anxiety, anger, irritability, impatience, no? And the pervasive sadness and hopelessness. So parang nadadalas na siya. And then you feel restless. Kanina in the reacting, it's just trouble sleeping. Na sometimes you just have form of difficulty in a week, just once or twice. But for this one, you become restless and then disturbed sleep na talaga siya. And you feel fatigue. The aches and pains continue. So pagdating sa performance, of course, it will decrease the performance if you're employee. So di ka na ganun ka-productive. And then absenteeism, dito na yung mga excuses natin. Plus the social avoidance or withdrawal. So for this one, this is already intentional. You no longer want to social interact, no? Intentionally, you isolate yourself. And that's under injured. On the ill aspect, it's on the excessive anxiety part, in which you easily enrage, easily get mad, impatient, and then the depressed mood comes in. Kanina kasi it's more of sadness, no? Maaaring tumataas, bumababa, pero medyo tumatagal ng onte. For this one, continues na siya, na parang depressive mood na siya. And then unable to fall asleep or stay asleep. Yan, halos let's say a week or 2 weeks na siyang talagang nagkaka-difficulty when it comes to sleeping. And then exhaustion and the physical illness. So in the reacting or in the injured, it's more of having the pains right at the back of your shoulders or at your back. But for this one, it's more of an illness. So probably you will have migraine. So it depends. It depends on the impact. Kasi the stressors have impact on our physical aspect. So for the ill, it comes the physical illness, and then unable to perform duties. So if you're a student, medyo nahihirapan na tayong gawin yung mga requirements, yung mga modules natin, parang we tend to have more excuses na rin, absenteeism, and isolation. So technically for the ill part of the continuum model is you are really isolating yourself and avoiding social events. So for this mental health continuum, they provided actions to take at each phase. So for example, for the healthy part, of course, you can focus on task at hand. If there are problems, of course, you try to manage them into chunks. And then identifying and nurturing your support system, who are there, who are these people, and then maintain healthy lifestyle. So they can still do their exercise, healthy diet. So it's under the healthy actions that they can do. On the reacting part, since there are nervousness, irritability, and problems, they have to recognize their limits. Because sometimes baka sobrang pagod lang din talaga and they overwork. For example, they tend not to rest. So you have to recognize your limits if you are on this continuum part, no, in the reacting. And it is important that you get adequate rest. And of course, yung food natin and exercise. This is very, very much helpful, especially whenever we are stressed or whenever we are like our mood is down. And then engage in healthy coping strategies. There are different healthy coping strategies. You can take a walk or jog or yung pet ninyo kasama yung mag-walk. Another thing is you can do breathing exercises, mindfulness exercises to calm and to reduce yung anxiety or yung stress whenever you feel it. Okay, and then of course, identifying and minimizing yung ating stress. All right. Under injured, what actions you can take? Of course, it is important that you identify the sources of your stress. It's like understanding your triggers. Kasi once you understand the triggers, you are aware of it, it will be easier for you to handle it. It will be easier for you to take action on it. Kasi if not, and you don't have any idea what's really happening with you, then mahihirapan tayong mag-address because we don't know what is it. Okay? And then, of course, talk with someone. So talk to your parents, your family members, the trusted people, and then seek help. It's okay to seek help. Under-injured, if you think yung sleep ninyo, sobra na talagang nagkaroon ng difficulty, ilang araw na hindi nakakatulog, it's okay to seek help naman sa professional, even under during injured. And it's fine, no? And seek social support and avoid na mag-withdraw. According to this, if you feel like you wanted to withdraw from people, do the opposite. No? Kasi yung feeling na you wanted to isolate yourself, it will just, parang yung severity ng pakaramdam natin, mangyayari. So better do the opposite of it. Instead of isolating yourself, talk to someone, talk to people. Okay? You have to unload. That's very important. And then for the meal part, you have to seek consultation as needed. This later we will discuss about mental disorder. So you really have to seek professional help if needed. And then if they have recommendations or if they have any treatment for you, treatment plans for you, you have to follow. Okay. To those who are with us this afternoon, with for example, a diagnosis, you have to follow. You have to follow your doctor's recommendations and yung mga treatment plans nila, and you have to do your regular checkups as well. Ngayon, online naman, no, some of the institutions, they do the online consultation and online therapy sessions. So you have to continue doing that. Kahit na you feel better na. So for example, they said na, oh, you have to come back after a month or two. You have to do that. Okay? Ayan. And then of course, during this part, you have to regain your physical and your mental health. So from time to time, we experience mental health concerns, mental health difficulties. So it ranges from either ngayon healthy tayo, and then there are times na we become injured, and then we go back dun sa healthy ulit, and then we go to reacting. It depends on our situation kasi. And then once you know that there's already on this another extreme side, which is the ill, we have to go to the professionals. Okay? And of course, again, we cannot just label na nalungkot siya, sasabihin natin, depressed na siya. We cannot do that. Kasi yung sadness, yung kalungkutan, it's part of our emotions. And sometimes it's okay. No? But of course, later we will discuss about mental disorders. So kailan siya masasabing it's already a problem that needs professional help. Okay? Yan. So, for that one, yan, hopefully mag-next siya. Ayan. So, mental disorder, of course, this is a medical condition. No? Hindi pwedeng sabihin natin na, itulog mo lang yan. Ikain mo lang yan. And if it's already a disorder, you have to seek help. Kailangan nating humingi ng tulong. Alright. So mental disorder or mental illness is a psychological or behavioral pattern. So generally, it is associated with our distress, with the situation that we have, the internal faculties and external faculties that we have, and then the disability that occurs in an individual. So this one is not part of normal development or culture, meaning pag deviant na yung behavior, di ba? Parang we say na, okay, they need help kasi hindi na siya yung normal part ng culture, hindi na siya yung accepted part ng ginagawa ng, for example, in terms of behavior. Of course, it depends, no? But basically, when we say mental disorder and mental illness, it's the same as, for example, diabetes. It's the same as that na kailangan mong humingi ng tulong sa doktor. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng papalampasin mo lang siya or sasabihin mo, hindi, okay na to, kaya ko naman to. What if affected na, no, yung iyong daily grind, your daily activities. So the deviance is there. And then yung maladaptiveness natin, na we really have the difficulty to adjust to the situation or the changes. Yon, kapag pumasok na yon, and then it already affects your daily activities, your daily functioning, and then yung distress ka na, sobrang emotions mo can no longer hold on to it, parang hindi mo na siya na-control. Ayan, kailangan na nating humingi ng tulong. And of course, we do not self-diagnose. Kanina we have continuum, but it doesn't mean na, okay, ito yung nararamdaman ko, siguro nandito na ako sa ill part. No, we do not self-diagnose. We never self-diagnose. Okay? Ayan. So, yung mga reminders natin for this webinar. So, what are the causes of mental disorders? Well, biological factors, of course, the hereditary predisposition, the inherited traits, and then the brain chemistry, no? Yung mga neurotransmitters natin. And then under that also is the poor nutrition. Mahirap din na walang nutrisyon kasi it can affect our mental health. And then the vices. Usually long use or substance use results to anxiety, results to depression. Okay, and then the physical illnesses. Ito yung mga chronic illnesses na that sometimes nagpapatong-patong, di ba? Kapag nagpatong-patong siya, you have your physical illness, and then it affects your emotions, it affects your thoughts, and then your behavior, it affects your mood. Parang tuloy-tuloy siya, no? And then the socio-economic factors, unemployment, ito yung mga stressful life situations, stressful life problems, housing problems, poverty. But of course, this could be just a trigger. Pwede na naman yung maging trigger. And then the psychological factors, which is the difficulty to adjust to the changes, adjust to the difficulties and problems. So we have to build our foundation as a person talaga din. No? Pag may problema, we really have to learn how to overcome the problem, how to resolve the problem. And then under psychological factors as well, the painful experiences. So dito yung traumatic experiences, psychological trauma, abuse, assault, yan. And then grief and anxiety under these psychological factors. But of course, we cannot say na, okay, biological factors. We cannot have that definite, no? We cannot pinpoint that. Sometimes it's a combination of different factors. Okay? And of course, who can have mental disorder? Sino ba? Well, like the virus, no? The virus don't discriminate. It's the same with mental disorder. So any person, regardless of age, gender, the socioeconomic status, and the race or the ethnicity, have that risk, have that some risk to have mental disorder. Okay, so in the Philippines, it's the mental disorder is the third disability here in the Philippines, and around tentatively 6 million Filipinos are living with that depression or anxiety. So medyo kailangan din talaga natin itong pangalagaan yung ating mga sarili, no? And well, basically, we have ways naman. We have ways on how to handle and how to improve ourselves in terms of improving our mental health. Okay. So hopefully everyone is okay. I just included here some characteristics. This one has been mentioned a while ago, no? Na what makes a mentally healthy individual? First, of course, you have to realize one's own potential, and that's a positive self-image. The way you perceive yourself, the way you know yourself. So, for example, trusting your capacity, no, to do things versus doon sa parang hindi ko kaya yan, hindi ako magaling dyan. Okay? So, having that positive self-image, mas may utilize mo yung kakayahan mo. Mas malalaman mo yung strength mo, mas magagamit mo siya, and at the same time, malalaman mo din yung mga bagay na kailangan mong i-improve. Alright? And then, the next one is resiliency. Yan yung sinasabi kanina na you can cope with the normal stresses of life. So when we say resiliency, syempre the stress is part of our life. And then basically, hindi natin siya maiiwasan. So we have to know how to handle that. We have to bounce back kapag meron tayong problem. And I'd like to share lang the 4 S's of resiliency, no? You can have your resilience plan. So for example, for the first S, you should know your support. Sino ba yung support system ko? That whenever I have problem, I can ask help from them, or I can talk to them. I can unload things to them. What are my strategies? That's the second S. What are my strategies? So for example, you are so rattle na dun sa iyong ginagawa. Ano ba yung mga strategies mo? So you can do breathing exercises, you can practice mindfulness exercises. Again, you can have your other activities, for example, walking your dog or yung pet mo. So different strategies that you do whenever you are under stress. And then another one is sagacity. Sagacity is more of words of wisdom. Those words that can give you comfort, that can give you hope. Dun sa mga time na we are so much stressed out. Yung mga yon na parang you can remember yung mga positive na nabasa mo or narinig mo from someone, na mareremind ka na, okay, it's not hopeless pala. I can still move forward. And then the last S is solution-seeking behavior. Whenever you have a problem, how do you usually handle or solve the problem? Okay, so those are the 4 S's of resilience plan, which you can do. Actually, pwede ninyo yung gawin. So every time you have a problem, and then parang it's hard for you to handle the problem, you can go back to that and check saan ba ako pwedeng kumuha ng strength ko. Okay? And then, of course, productivity and creativity. As I have mentioned a while ago, you can work, you can be very productive with your work or with your task, kung school works man yan, or kung employees ka, yung trabaho mo, no? And sometimes you can go beyond pa. Dun sa, you can give your extra mile pa nga, sabi, no? And you can make use of your creative juices. Ayan, dyan papasok yun. And then last is you can contribute to the community. You have that sense of purpose. Bakit po ba ito ginagawa? Para saan ba to? And then basically, extending yourself to other people para makatulong ka sa ibang tao. Probably yung mga nag-work no, in healthcare, ito yon yung passion, no, na sinasabi nga din nila na they are doing this despite the pandemic, they are doing this for the people. That's the purpose kasi. Yan yung sinumpaan nila at gusto nilang gawin talaga to help out other people. So this one are what makes a healthy, mentally healthy individual. Okay, so I have included here some of the impact whenever there is a mental health in the workplace, a good mental health in the workplace. So actually, it's not just for the employee, but also for the employer, no, for the business. Kasi once there is a good mental health in the workplace, that your employees feel like they are well cared for, they are happy with their environment. Of course, it will help you yung employee na yon, it will help them to be more productive. Yung performance nila, as much as they can, talagang on top lagi. No? Kasi they are very much engaged and very much motivated pagdating dun sa pagbibigay nila ng service doon sa company. Kasi they feel like maayos yung environment ko, they provided what they need, they have, I have their support, and then yon loyalty comes, dun siya papasok. So it's very important actually for this one, no, the having this webinar session, and I know this is also for the employees, no, para makita din, no, makita nila na okay na maganda nga talaga na may maayos na mental health sa environment mo and for the employers as well. Right? And in terms of managing mental health in the workplace, of course, for every employers, you have to create a culture of openness and awareness. Parang this one, you can encourage your people to be more open about mental health. So, for example, for a certain company, they can have the regular lectures or webinars. They can ask for their HR na to discuss mental health or to discuss how to take care of their oneself, no, and then stress management. So, marami. In a lecture, in a form of lecture, in a form of educating the employees about mental health, it will help create a culture na, hindi naman pala ako ma-judge if ever na someone from the company ay may concern when it comes to mental health. And then, of course, communicate. I know there are internal communications naman sa bawat kumpanya, no? And they can make use of that. For example, monthly or weekly reminders. You can have some pointers na, for example, taking care of oneself, ano yung mga pwede nilang gawin. Or stress management. Kahit internal, just a reminder for the employees na, oo nga, ito nga pala yun when it comes to stress management, when it comes to problem in terms of handling yung work overload, yung mga ganong type, you can communicate internally, you can do that. And of course, sa team meetings, you can also have check-ins. Parang kanina, no, temperature check. You have to check your employees, yung mga line managers natin, also kahit papaano, they should be aware, no, nung pag-spot ng may mga mental health concerns para ma-direct nila yung tao or yung employee nila to the appropriate support. Okay, so actually in our team, we have what we call Friday processing, in which dun sa team namin, we share the whole experience for the whole week. And then basically parang it's a form of debriefing na din kasi of course we handle clients every day. So it's a form of debriefing para pagdating ng Monday, naka-recharge na kami, full bat na ulit. So something like that, you can have it pwede munang per team. So it depends, no? It depends on the capacity din dun sa bawat companies na yan. And then establish support system. So this one is somehow related to communication. Pero dito, you can have support system, a peer-to-peer support system, parang checking in, ikaw yung taga-check-in kay ganito or kay ganyan. Malaki din yung maiitulong nun para kahit paano, before pa maging malaki yung problem, alam nila that their company supports them. And then, you have to provide yung accessibility of health. In different companies, kailangan as much as you can, you provide where or sinong tatawagan ko, kanino ako unang lalapit, sino yung unang kakausapin ko whenever I have mental health concerns. That should be available to your employees, no? And of course, yung confidentiality naman, of course, kasama naman doon, no? Pero you should provide the accessibility of help to the employees. Okay, and in those ways, as at least, no, yung company natin will try to help manage yung mental health natin ng mga employees natin. And of course, hindi lang yung mga employees, yung mga managers din. Kasi syempre, magkakaiba ng stressors yan. So, everyone should take care of their mental health and everyone should establish a more healthy environment sa workplace. Okay? Yan. And basically for now, yan, we'll proceed now with the holidays kasi yan yung nasa topic natin. So COVID-19 pandemic, nung dumating to, we are all experience different emotions. No, nandun yung fear, nandun yung stress, nandun yung anxiety because of the uncertainty. Probably some people or other people ngayon talaga well adjusted now with the situation. They know what to do na because of ilang buwan na din siya, no? And then ngayon, of course, hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na because there's a pandemic, wala mo ng Christmas, wala mo ng holidays. Of course, we wanted to experience pa din sana na masaya yung Pasko or yung bagong taon natin. And then, of course, kapag sinabi nating holidays, di ba, parang happiness, rejoicing. Pero to some, ito yung time na they feel like down. Ito yung time na parang when they reflect, parang they do painful reflections. They do feel yung mga grief, down, and anxiety during holidays. Kaya may tinatawag na holiday blues. Oo, parang ganun siya. So basically, may pandemic, stressor na siya, no? And at the same time, may holiday stressors din. So, how can we handle this? So, yun yung i-discuss natin. Okay? So, for the COVID-19 pandemic, I just included here some of the effects of pandemic to our mental health, especially nung nag-start na nag-lockdown, no? So, basically, you have the fear and worry about your own health and the health of your loved ones. And then, of course, the financial situation or job. Kasi hindi naman lahat nag-continue sa mga trabaho nila. And then loss or support system or support services that you rely on because yun nga eh, we are in the same storm but we are not on the same boat. Kaya talagang iba-iba, no? According to studies nga, there is really a divergence of how people handle yung stress in the context of social and economic. So, yun yung mga naging impact niya sa atin. And then, changes in sleep or eating patterns, yan yung mga naging problem. And then, of course, yung work from home din, no? Isang, ano din yan, isang naging now normal din siya. And then, the difficulty of sleeping and concentrating. Then, those who have chronic mental health problems, chronic health problems, nahirapan silang magpunta sa mga hospitals. So, worsening then of mental health conditions kasi some, yung kanilang outlet is to go out, to travel. Yun yung outlet ng ibang may mental health conditions. Yet, bigla silang na-confine, bigla silang na-contain. So, doon papasok yung impact niya to the mental health. And then increased use of tobacco or alcohol and other substances. So basically, those are the effects of pandemic to our mental health. And the fear, the stress, and the worries na naramdaman naman natin are understandable. Understandable yan because we don't know yet eh. But now, sabi ko nga, there may be more people na nakaka-adjust na. No? And of course, with the pandemic, it heightens our holidays stressors. Una-una, the financial stress. We are afraid to get sick kasi mahirap ma-hospitalize, mahal, and kailangan talaga financially capable. And then at the same time, some people na-retrench, nawala ng trabaho, so talagang kailangan mag-adjust, no? So, financial stress yan. And then, ngayong Christmas, how are you gonna celebrate Christmas? Parang iisipin mo din, paano ba yun? We don't have capacity, financial capacity for it. Okay? So, that one. And then, change of plans. Yan. Change of plans or alter schedule. Maybe some of you have their tickets na, no? For Christmas travel. And then, yung iba siguro, they are planning to go to their provinces, to their families. Usually, ito yung mga get-togethers. Pero, because of the pandemic, may changes. So, We have to alter our schedule, we have to change our plans, and nakaka-stress yun minsan. 'Di ba? Parang you have your ticket na, tapos magre-refund ka. So, dagdag ng padagdag siya. Something like, bakit ba kasi? 'Di ba? You will ask, bakit ba kasi nangyari to and all? So, that's another one. And then missing your family and friends. Kasi probably some of you ay on your own dito sa Manila. Your family are in the provinces. And then it's not easy to go there, no? Magbiyahe. So, yung feeling na syempre nami-miss natin yung family natin and yung friends natin, the way we celebrate Christmas before, maaari din natin siyang ma-experience now. And then to those who have poor social support, isolation and loneliness, of course, Christmas, no, ang daming mga makikita mo parang happy, no? And on your end, parang you feel down and you feel isolated. Parang saan ako lalapit? Sino kakausapin ko? I don't have my support system. So, it's really difficult. Okay? And then unrealistic expectations. Usually December, end of the year, parang it's the time for you to reflect on what happened the whole year. And you have your expectations for the whole year. And ngayon, na nagkaroon tayo ng pandemic, then Christmas, end of the year, parang yung expectations natin, realistic pa ba siya? We have to check on it. Kailangan as much as we can para maiwasan natin yung dagdag na stress, no? We have to adjust the expectations that we have. Okay? Halong stress na you can't go out, you can't do your usual thing na ginagawa every Christmas, hindi na pwede ang sobrang malaking gatherings, you feel exhausted, you are doing your work from home, you are doing a lot of things, you are doing your business, so ang dami niya. And then how can we celebrate? Virtual ba? Face-to-face ba? So parang you feel like nagpa-pile up na yung ating mga naiisip. And then, of course, it will result to stress overload. You feel like hindi mo alam so that's another thing, depression and family conflict na whether in person man yan or virtual, emotionally draining yan and challenging. No, it is extra difficult for those who have anxiety and depression. Dahil of course they have to manage the condition and at the same time they have to adjust and manage din doon sa mga demands na okay. Okay. So we have just included here some of the red flags during the holidays. If you observe that someone is withdrawing from friends and family, hindi naman yun yung usual niya, check on that person. Ha? Check natin sila. Sleep impairment, problem with too much sleep or lack of sleep. Okay. And then behaving more erratically and impulsively, having problem with decisions. May mga na-observe kang behavior na parang hindi naman niya yun gagawin, hindi naman niya yung ginagawa, pero bakit parang ginawa niya, no? And then feeling more irritable and angry. So basically, umiiksi yung pasensya, paaring laging nakasigaw or laging galit, or even to the smallest thing, laging mainit yung ulo, which hindi naman siya ganun before. And then feelings of loneliness or yung sadness nga, ang tinatawag. And then losing interest in activities that you normally enjoy. Usually, not being motivated to do the activities na dati, sobrang enjoy mo, sobrang interested kang gawin. And then lack of pleasure in normal activities. Dissatisfied ka. In which before naman, dun sa mga activities na yun, sobrang fulfilled yung pakiramdam. And this one is very important, no? It's very important to pay attention to the content of what a friend or loved one is is talking or writing about. Minsan baka they are saying and asking for help na pala sa mga post doon sa social media, meron tayong mga kakaiba minsang nakikita. And we have to check on those people. Kasi baka they are parang they are asking for help na pala, hindi lang nila directly sinasabi. Okay? So those are the red flags during the holidays. As ngayon na pandemic and at the same time holiday, so maaring combination na din talaga yung makikita natin from how people react and how people respond to the stressors during this time. Okay, and I think yeah. So I'm on the last part of the session. During later, I will also give you mga basic tips din. Pero first, you have to make self-care a top priority. When we say self-care is not selfish, okay? You take care of yourself, ibig sabihin you also take care of your loved ones. So, that's physical self-care, emotional self-care, social self-care, all areas of your life, you have to take care of it. Make it a top priority kasi you can share yourself to others kung ikaw ay nag-aalaga mismo sa sarili mo. Alright? And then, be realistic. Ngayon nga, as I have mentioned a while ago, no, there might be some plans, there might be some yung long term talaga na pinaghandaan natin for this Christmas. But then it happened. So we have to be realistic and adjust that para also maiiwasan natin yung too much na stress sa pag-iisip na sayang. Hindi din natin may enjoy yung Christmas. No? So we have to be realistic and you have to plan ahead. I'm not sure kung, yun nga nakapag-plan ahead tayo prior to the pandemic and then it happened. So ngayon, we still have time naman to plan ahead. What are we gonna do? Do we have a virtual party? Do we have a small gathering? No? Do we have a small gathering with social distancing? So very important to plan ahead. And it is more of organizing than your thoughts na kailangan as much as you can, hindi ka rin maharas sa pagpaplano ng mga activities ninyo during this pandemic and during the holidays. So acknowledge your feelings. It's very important. If you feel bad, if you feel sad na malayo ka sa pamilya mo, and basically, iinis ka dahil ganun nga ang nangyayari, hindi ka makakauwi, or hindi ka na makaka-travel, you have to acknowledge that. Allow yourself to feel that. That's part of emotional self-care. You have to allow the feelings and then express para hindi siya mag-bottle up, para hindi siya mapupuno. No? And it's very important to be present. When we say be present, whatever activities that you will have during the holidays, you have to be at that moment. No? You can practice mindfulness. You can practice mindfulness during that time para ma-enjoy mo din talaga kahit pa virtual yan, no? Virtual kainan, virtual inuman ng families, no? Kailangan nandun ka, hindi yung kung ano-ano yung ginagawa mo during that time. So, in every activities na gagawin ninyo, be at the moment. Be at the moment. Alright? And, of course, everything should be in moderation. Kasi right now, no, you have to, sometimes kasi you tend to follow yung indulgences mo that you wanted, sige, magpa-deliver ako ng ganito, magpa-deliver ako ng ganitong food, parang pampa-happy. Kaya lang, kailangan din nating moderate, no? In moderation ng mga i-indulge natin during these holidays. And then kanina, sabi natin, self-care. So, kailangan mo rin i-watch out. Meron ka pa rin physical activity, meron ka pa rin daily routine para everything is in moderation. Okay? And then take time every day to enjoy something about the season. So, dito, one is related to the be present eh. Kasi parang, for example, you are just appreciating kung ano yung meron ka, no? Kunyari, enjoying the decorations, yung mga ganong simpleng bagay about the season, sasabihin natin mo ba yan, ang simple-simple lang. Pero it can help us yung feel na magaan, na pakiramdam, no? So take time every day, simpleng you're just enjoying yung ano ninyo, no? Yung time ninyo together. So, very important yun. And then give yourself permission to let some things go. Kasi yun nga eh, during this time, parang we have to have a lot. Parang, kailangan ganito, kailangan ganyan. Parang, we create those have-tos. Tapos minsan, when we check on it naman, parang some of those things naman pala can be, kumbaga, can be dropped. Pwede naman pala siyang hindi isama. Pwede naman palang maging ito lang muna. So you have to check on your priorities as well para yung mga stressors mo, organize din. Okay? And say no if you feel overwhelmed. So for example, sunod-sunod yung activities ninyo through virtual or through face-to-face and you're uncomfortable, you have to say no kung hindi talaga. Oo, okay lang naman din yun from your assessment na parang medyo napadami naman na yung punta ko ng party virtually. Siguro kahit saglit lang ako and then I'll leave. It's okay, no? And we have to reach out. We have to reach out and ask for help. During this pandemic, usually marami ding natatakot na mag-reach out, no? Kasi parang iisipin nila, sila din kasi may problema. And during holiday season, ganun din siya. Kasi you will think na ang sasaya ng mga tao. They are all enjoying and ako, lalapit ako. I will ask for help. Parang ang off. Pero hindi. You have to reach out and ask help to those who are close to you. Kasi they have to know. And then vice versa, no? Na ikaw, you have to check into the people na sa tingin mo parang hindi lang sila nagsasalita, pero you have to at least ask man lang how are they, kumusta man lang sila. And kahit pa paano, makaka-help din yun, no? Sa bawat isa sa atin in our own little way. So, there. In general, those are some ways that we can do to take care of our mental health during holidays. And I have included here some basic tips for having a sound mental health. So, parang pwede natin itong ma-practice, no? Every time. Kahit hindi holiday, kahit anong araw pa yan, we have to practice this to have a sound mental health. So you have to talk about your feelings. You have to unload. You have to express. As I have mentioned, it's not a weakness to allow yourself to feel what you really feel. And expressing that, talking about the feelings will help you out to see the bigger perspective of the situation. So, mas mariresolve at makikita mo yung mga solutions mo. No? And then you have to eat right and keep active. Course, the diet, and then exercise, kailangan natin yan. Some of you might be, of course, yung mga estudyante natin, no, na nasa bahay lang din talaga. Make sure meron kayong time to kahit man lang 10 to 15 minutes na stretching, kahit man lang saglit na saglit na exercise before you start your task, schoolwork, the whole day kasi alam ko parang sobrang tight din ng schedule no ng mga estudyante natin. Pero you have to make time for it. No, that's for your health, no? And then make time for family and friends. We have to nurture our relationships. You have to connect and reconnect. All right? And give and accept support. It's okay to accept support, lalo na kung kinakailangan talaga natin ito. And we can give and provide it as well to those who are in need. So parang give and take lang yan. Sabi nga, di ba, support means everything. This one is very helpful din sa atin. Okay? And we have to manage our stress. I have 4 A's naman in managing stress. First, you have to avoid unnecessary stress. Sometimes kasi we create the stress. Pwede naman nating iwasan, no? And then alter the situation if kinakailangan. So avoid, alter, and then you have to adapt. You have to adapt to the stressor if talagang hindi na natin siya, kumbaga, hindi na natin siya kayang i-adjust, hindi na natin siya kayang i-alter. And then the one last is accept the things that we cannot change. There are stressors na hindi talaga natin mababago. So we have to give ourselves yung time natin to accept that. So we also have what we call, ano, diba, spheres of control. So those spheres of control within that circle, those are your within capacity, no? Within your control, manageable mo siya. But outside that, those things, na stressors, for example, pwede mo muna siyang i-park or pwede mo muna siyang isang tabi kasi baka hindi pa naman siya ngayon and baka hindi natin siya magagawa ng paraan sa ngayon. Okay? And then, of course, do something you're good at. This one is related to utilizing your own potential. And then learn to be at peace with yourself. So you have to know who you are, what makes you happy, ano yung mga bagay na kailangan kong malaman about sa sarili ko, what makes me sad. And know the things that you can improve and you have the difficulty to improve. So, and be at peace, no? Nothing can bring you peace but yourself, sabi nga niya. So, I think that's it for this afternoon. I would just like to share this quote, especially during this time, no? Now, we cannot control the wind, but we can always adjust the sails. All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for this afternoon and advance Merry Christmas and Happy 2021. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss M. Wow, ang dami. There's just so many things that even I learned, and I took down some notes. And it's really just some of the main points that I got there is that we have to acknowledge that you don't have to have mental illness to not have mental health, and maybe that's why many people who don't have mental illness think that they're mentally healthy, but they're not. I think that's very important for us to realize that we have to face that sometimes. No, that we have to look at ourselves and say, wait, am I asking for help? Am I acknowledging my own stresses in life? And I think that's very important for us to understand. I thank you so much. And okay, so we have time now. We have some time for question and answer. And joining us, we have a special guest. Okay, joining us now for the Q&A. He is a public mental health specialist and the director for Health in Organic Intelligence. Let's all please welcome Dr. Jason Ligot.
Hi, Robbie. Hello, everyone. Hi, good afternoon. And first of
Hi,
all,
Doc.
thank you very much, Em, for that very, very enlightening presentation. I think I echo Robbie. No, even though I've been working in mental health for some time now, I picked up a lot of very important nuggets of mental health wisdom from your talk, and we can certainly take a lot, especially now during the holiday season.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Jason.
Thank you, and yeah, let's go to some questions that we have here. Very good questions. So, There's one. What are the signs that my friend or workmate is experiencing some mental health challenges?
Okay. So what are the signs, no, that a coworker or an office mate
Mhm.
has already been experiencing mental health challenges? Well, basically, we have discussed a while ago, no, you have to check on the red flags. For example, nagwi-withdraw na siya from social interaction. Dati, madalas siyang sumasama sa inyo. For example, for lunch and lagi ninyo kasama sa mga activities, and then suddenly parang nagdi-distansya siya, no? Nag-isolate siya. And then of course, yung way din, no, the way they discuss things with you. Minsan kasi hindi lang talaga sila nagsasalita. Pero sobrang when you ask kung kumustahin natin sila, we can check on it na parang checking in. Kumusta ka? If you need help, we can actually ask them directly na kumustahin man lang natin. And then if they need help, reassure them that you are there. And basically, from there, kasi doon natin malalaman kung parang there's something different ba with her behavior, or kung parang meron siyang mga hesitations. O medyo mahirap kasi din, Robbie, na parang sasabihin natin we have this checklist, pero they can make use of the red flags na nagiging iba yung way nila, their behavior, and at the same time, their performance, and the way they communicate and the way they interact, maaaring nandun yung pagbabago. And siguro yun, additional lang din na for that situation, you have to check on that person. Pwede mong simpleng kumustahin and reassurance that you are there whenever kailangan niya ng help. I hope I answered the question.
Actually, yeah, no, I think that's a good answer, no? And maybe as a follow-up to that, what would your advice be naman, for example, if you're sensitive to the behavior of your colleagues, tas napapansin mo nga na medyo nagwi-withdraw ng konti. What's a good way to start a conversation about mental health, apart from asking just outright, are you okay? Are there any other ways that maybe we can talk to our colleagues about sensitive issues like your emotions or your feelings?
Okay. Siguro, Doc, I think ang role na pwedeng gawin on this one is to communicate dun sa upper, yung pwede niyang maka one-on-one. Kasi a workmate cannot just directly talk to her about mental health, or if isabihin sa kanya na, oh, you have to share this kasi baka may ganito kang problema and all. Kasi depende siya, no? Pero I think yun yung na-mention ko din, no, Doc, na it's very important for supervisors or line managers that they know how to spot kapag parang nakikita nilang yung employee nila have mental health concern, para they can encourage, no, sa one-on-one nila yung concern about the mental health. At doon pwede na silang mag-inject na they have to provide kung ano yung mga accessible help for them, ano yung support na pwedeng ibigay ng company. So I think yun yung parang flow na pwedeng i-follow doon sa scenario na yun, Doc.
Right. Actually, that's a very good point, no? Na as if you're a supervisor or a manager, part of your responsibility, I suppose, no, especially during this time, is to be sensitive to your staff and to make sure that they are reassured that if they have any concerns or they have any problems that they would like to bring up, that the company or the organization is there to provide support, and that they can talk to them. You know, there's always open lines of communication whenever there are any issues or problems. Sige, so while I'm waiting for my colleague Robbie to come back online, parang you mentioned earlier kasi that, you know, the holidays can be stressful even without the pandemic, diba? Parang there is a lot of
Yes.
pressure associated
Mm-hmm.
with the holidays, with or without COVID-19. But now there's the pandemic, and there's just so many other added stress and pressures. No, what are
Mm-hmm.
tips that you can share for, uh, let's just say, for people who are not looking forward to the holidays because of the stress that it brings, especially during this time? Are there other ways that they can try to still be in the spirit of the holidays and maintain their mental health?
Yes, Doc. I think in that case, no, kung they're not looking forward to it kasi they will feel like nakaka-stress lang yan, and then probably
Mm.
they have already their plans na nagbago. So, in that case, siguro more of trying to chunk the stressors.
Mm-hmm.
Unang-una, syempre hindi lang sila yung involved dito, no? Their family members or yung loved ones nila na
Mm-hmm.
okay, sige, ito muna yung kaya nating gawin this time. So
Mm-mm.
if you are not comfortable na magse-celebrate tayo, baka naman at least we can have a simple meal or a simple
Right.
bonding ng family bonding.
Mm-mm.
So I think yung sa ganong pamamaraan, kahit papano, ma-enjoy niya pa din.
Mm-hmm.
Ma-enjoy niya pa din yung sitwasyon na meron tayo at this point.
Right.
Ayun.
That's a good point, ano? Kasi sometimes, especially, I mean, the reality is for many people right now who may have lost jobs, for example, or who are facing some financial issues because of the pandemic, parang the prospect of spending money and the pressure of, uh, yeah, as I said, buying gifts, etc., that can be very stressful.
Mhm.
But you touched on an important point. Parang at the end of the day, what's important naman is that you're able to spend quality time with the people that you love, and at the same
Mhm.
time, be thankful that you're all safe and relatively healthy, especially at this time. Um,
Mhm. Yeah. Oo, we
no,
can,
go ahead,
well,
please.
yeah, siguro I would like to add lang din, no, na we have to learn how to appreciate na lang din muna, no, what we have. Yung being grateful can be very helpful to us during this
Mm-mm.
time. Yung magpasalamat tayo with what we have, that can help, no, that can help lessen yung mga inaalala and worries natin. All right, no, I'm good.
Right. Thank you very much, Em. I think I think we're all feeling a little extra stressed because of all the connection issues with this webinar today. Certainly a test of our own resilience. But thank you to everyone who are still with us and who are uh, who are following this discussion. And again, thank you to Em for engaging in this conversation. Um, so we have a few questions from people who have joined us this afternoon, who have raised some very important questions about mental health, which I can read to you right now. So let's look at the questions. Okay, so one question we had is, if you're caring for somebody with mental illness, or somebody living with mental illness, maybe a parent or a sibling, how do you make sure that you don't feel burned out as a caregiver as well? Or how do you protect your own mental health as a caregiver?
Mhm. All right. So since you are a caregiver of a mental health client, no, basically, I assume meron din tayong kasama sa bahay na family members, no? You have
Mm-hmm.
to have time for yourself din kasi. So, kumbaga, you are taking care of your family member, pero make sure na you will delegate, no? You will delegate some task, lalo na if you need to
Mm-hmm.
find your own me time. Kasi I think
Right.
you have to invest then for yourself eh.
Mm-mm.
Hindi pwedeng uubusin mo yung battery mo in giving everything tapos hindi mo na nakakapag-recharge.
Mm-hmm.
So make time for yourself, invest time for yourself as well, and ask help from other family members while you're doing and having the me time. Para once you go back, no, once you breathe, nakahinga ka,
Mm-hmm.
you can continue, no? Mas matutulungan mo at mas patuloy mong mabibigay yung support mo dun sa family member na yun. So, may we time din. No?
Right.
I think that's very important.
Yes, that's such good advice, no? Especially in our setting naman, many times it's a family affair. You should not assume
Mm-hmm.
that you're alone. You should
Yes.
always feel that if you think that you are feeling extra stressed or burning out, that you should reach out and ask. Sometimes that's all it takes is to tell other people that you're tired and that you could appreciate some help, and there are always other people there to help you. Okay, can
Yes.
Yeah,
we
and
go, Robbie?
I've
Yes.
noticed that also. I've also noticed that, like right now that we're all locked in, right, with our families.
Mm-mm.
And I've heard this time and again, di ba, na even though you're with your families and you're together, apparently the connections within the household still can be better, right? I think it's something that me as a parent, I need to also look into. Am
Right.
I reaching out and really connecting with my own family when I'm at
Mm-hmm.
home? Because that can be taken for granted. And thank you. I think that's a good thing to have, no, parang maybe to ask also, as maybe head of the family or what.
Mm-mm.
Ask your spouse or your children. You can check, do a check. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Yeah. And I think that's good to do as well.
Yes.
Right. Thanks, Robbie. We have another question, and actually, this is something really close to PMHA, no, because apart from your advocacy for mental health promotion, I understand that PMHA actually provides clinical services as well. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, and also share how people can reach the PMHA if they need mental health counseling, for example, or even psychiatric services. So, what would be your advice on approaches for someone who would like to seek professional help?
Oh, the best way to approach someone in seeking professional help. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for this one, I think well, basically there are a lot of institutions no providing mental health. We have a lot of mental health service providers, and as we can do dun sa mga taong mga ngailangan nito, we can provide them those options. We can provide them those options, and siguro, sorry if I
Mm-hmm.
did get the question right, no, pero it's more of how can they approach? Is that right?
Yep. Like,
Mhm.
How can
if
they?
someone were interested in seeking professional
Mhm.
help, where, how does one get
Okay,
that?
okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So yun, we have different mental institutions, mental health service providers online. But PMHA, yes, we do provide psychiatric consultations. We also have psychotherapy sessions and teleassessment, no? Teleassessment.
Mm.
So if they would like to reach out to us, they can actually send an email at
Mm-hmm.
pmha.cisd@gmail.com. They can send their concerns there and someone will answer on how to proceed.
Okay.
Ayun.
So they can just send an email, and then somebody will respond to connect them to the appropriate provider.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. And they can also check our Facebook official Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
They can also check on that, and then we have our contact numbers there, which they can text, no, which they can send the
Mm-hmm.
message. Okay.
Very good.
Maybe
Okay,
just
thank you.
All
a
right.
follow
It's
up
lagging.
there. As a follow
Yes,
up, Miss
Robbie.
M. like if you notice that somebody is exhibiting, let's say, the stress and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
you want to help them and you want to be able to approach them, is there a proper
Mm-hmm.
way to approach it? Because I know that one is that the person needs to acknowledge that they need help, right? But sometimes blind
Yeah.
spot yun eh. So what's an appropriate way to bring it up to a friend or a family member that they may need to seek help?
Mm-hmm. Actually, you can start with ano eh, you can start with reassuring the person. For example, I observe na parang medyo nagkakaroon ka ng difficulty. If you need help, andito lang ako. And if you need professional help, I can actually help you out na humanap ng professionals. Pwede naman ganun po siya. But of course, to some kasi it can be threatening. Kaya
Mm-hmm.
we do not directly ask them na baka kailangan mo na ng help. It's not like that eh. So it's more of reassurance that you are there for them whenever they need help. And then you are there to support. No, usually ganon siya. And then it's a form of encouragement to the person na magsabi siya sa'yo. So you really have to wait then eh. Unless they will tell you na parang hindi yata ako okay. That's ano na, easy. Kasi pag nagsabi siya ng ganun, you can redirect and ask help if necessary. Pero kung
Right.
hindi siya open, we cannot just say na kailangan mong magpatingin. We cannot do that and we should never do that. No, it's more
Right.
of reassurance. It's more of
Right.
reassurance and encouragement.
Mhm.
Yeah. But if it's a family member, siguro, Robbie, na parang may open communication naman, I think there's no problem with it. Kasi in the family, di ba, kailangan transparent kayo, open kayo as much as you can. So,
Yeah.
in that case, pwede yun na, for example, you're a mother and you wanted to suggest dun sa anak mo na you want help for her or for
Mm-hmm.
him, pwede mo siyang kausapin ng maayos, but not in a threatening way. Yun yung lagi
Mhm.
nating tatandaan. Not to threaten the person.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ayun.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Miss M. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Robbie, I think we have one more question for
Yes.
this
Yeah.
afternoon. And we actually, I touched on this earlier, but maybe if you want to add anything else, that this is a question from a superior who is asking how can they
Mhm.
immediately provide help for employees who need mental and emotional first aid. So this is from the perspective of a higher up, you're a boss, and then you are observing
Mhm.
that your staff is becoming withdrawn. What are
Mhm.
some practical emotional or mental health first aid steps that they can do?
Oh, okay. So first, you have to check now if you are equipped on the concern of
Mm-hmm.
the employee. Kasi as I have
Mhm.
mentioned kanina, you can talk naman one-on-one. Pwede kayong mag one-on-one. And then from there, pwede kang mag-ask ng some of the concerns. And if you
Mm-hmm.
think that those concerns ay beyond your capacity, doon papasok yung referral. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have a psychologist in the company or an HR in the company, na you will refer that employee to the person. So it's more of parang kanina din no na
Mm-hmm.
you will make sure to reassure the person na okay, you will have to listen of course. Listen non-judgmentally while habang nag-share siya sa inyo. And then when you think that you have to refer, you have to ask help from the appropriate professional within the company if you have
Mm-hmm.
one. And then doon na kasi yung flow niya. No? But listening, that's the first one. And then trying to see how can you improve
Mm-hmm.
anything that the superior can do.
Right.
Mhm. I hope that
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Yes.
I think
I hope
that's a
that
good
helps.
point, no? Because no, it does. Because I think if you're a superior in a company or if you're one of the senior officials,
Mhm.
promoting a culture of listening is really important because generally people take their cues naman from the leadership. Eh. So if leaders themselves are adopting a very open attitude to mental health, reassuring everyone that there are open lines of communication, that really goes a long way in encouraging staff and other employees in speaking up
Right.
and being open about their own emotional challenges as well. Robbie, anything you'd like to add?
And I guess, like the webinar that we had recently on, meaningful workplaces, developing meaningful
Right.
workplaces we had
Mm-hmm.
recently. I think that's the sign of the times that
Right.
companies or corporations or leaders now are called to, really be more aware of how to
Mm-hmm.
listen better, create connections, with their employees, or with their coworkers, and it's something that we should all start doing, and trying to be more mindful of each other, especially during this time na nasa lockdown tayo, and we only get to see each other, maybe some of us once a week lang nga, di ba? Because nga we can't all be in the office at the same time. So I guess reaching out and understanding, seeing the signs, being gentle and understanding, with other people, that's really the call now, and what's more important for us to develop as people, and as coworkers. So yeah, thank you so much. That's actually
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. I think it's something that people really need to see and hear. We need to learn how to listen more.
Right.
Di ba? Dalawa ang tenga pero iisa lang ang bibig, di ba? Kasi nga we should kailangan kasi makinig tayo bago tayo magsalita, no more. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes a long way for helping people, with their own mental health.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, wow. Okay. So I think we've gone past 4:30. We're 6 minutes over, and I know there's so much pa, di ba, that we can still ask and all that. But before we go, Miss M and Doc Jason, maybe you'd like to say something, or maybe some words that you'd like to leave our webinar audience today regarding mental health.
So maybe we can ask
I think
Miss M
as I
first from PMHA.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Doc Jason. Yeah, I think as we take care of our physical health, no, we also have to take care of our mental health din talaga. And it's very important kasi it affects our thinking, our mood, and our behavior. So from there, doon natin bibigyan ng time yung sarili natin. Huwag natin kakalimutan yon. And at the same time, we have to be considerate siguro ngayon, panahong to, to other people we have to stretch our patience minsan to our family members, lalo na 24/7 magkakasama lahat sa bahay, no? During this time. And I hope duration of the holiday season, and you can start
Yes.
naman, no, with the family. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Em. And again, thank you to the Philippine Mental Health Association for joining us this afternoon. Siguro for me lang, Robbie, generally kasi, di ba, this is the time where we reflect on what the year that has come to pass. And certainly there's a lot to reflect on because of COVID-19 and everything, all of the challenges that we faced. Parang I read a quote somewhere. It goes a little something like, this year may not be the year where I get the things that I want, but I am thankful for the things that I have. And I think that's a good perspective to have as we end 2020. And for 2021, I want to echo the great tips that Em shared with us earlier. Generally speaking, when we make resolutions, kasi diba, it's all about maybe quitting smoking or eating better, getting some more exercise. All of those have benefits for your mental health too. And then maybe you can make some very specific mental health resolutions as well about finding time to relax, managing your stress, improving on your working on your relationships, for example. These are all tips and resolutions that we can take into the new year to make sure that in 2021 we can protect and promote our mental health.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Doc Jason. Miss M, thank you so much. Ang daming, I'm sure many of our viewers, marami kayong natulungan dyan. And we got a lot of good tips for today. So ladies and gentlemen, for all of you who have been viewing this today, we will post actually this live session on YouTube. So you can view it again so that if you want to revisit the tips that were given by Miss M and some of the insights that were given by Doc Jason, please do view it again. I'm sure that ako din, gagawin ko yun. And just remember, everyone, that the season is coming and, well, it's already here. Christmas season is a season for giving. It's a season for reflecting. Give a little bit to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Reflect on the good things and connect with the people that you love so that we can all take care of each other, because each other is all we have right now during this lockdown. And so please stay tuned. This is not the last webinar that we will have for the year. We will be posting again and sending you again invitations to our next very interesting webinar. But for now, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and God bless.